Hi guys, welcome back. As promised, this is my budgeting sheet. I've been using it for a while and it does a fine job for me. Hopefully it will be useful for you too. First of all, why do we need a personal budgeting sheet? The main reason is to make sure that our expenses and incomes are under control, to ensure that you are not overspending and that you're giving a purpose to your money. The template I'm showing is the one you can download from the personal budgeting video I posted. If you haven't seen it yet, I suggest you to do so. You can find the link in the video description and here on the top right corner of the screen. In any case, you can also find the link to download this template in the description of this video. Let's dig into it. From this page, please download the file and open it on your desktop Excel app to be able to edit it and use all the features. This is the template. You can see 4 tabs. Let me talk you through each of them. The first one is a detailed instruction on how to use the template, a written version of what I'm explaining in this video. The second one is the input section. This is where you will manually input your income and expenses entries. And the last 2 are the results, your dashboards, showing you respectively your monthly financial situation and the summary for the whole year. You will modify tab 2 and 3. The third tab is what we will focus on first. You can see the expenses in the big column on the left side and the income here on the top central area. This tab is your one-pager, showing your personal financial situation for each month. The most important outcomes, the 3 pieces of information that we all should keep under control are, first, your expenses distribution, and on which expenses category you are spending most of your income. Second, the split between your needs and your wants. We will talk about this in a moment. Third, your income versus expenses ratio, and how much you are able to save for the month. Back to the expenses list. There are hundreds of ways to group expenses into categories, but what you see on the screen is what I think works best to simplify things. I use 3 main categories, which are 1. Fixed expenses, 2. Goals or planned expenses, and 3. Recurring expenses. Within these 3 main categories, you can see a list of classes, such as housing, loans and debt, food, transportation, personal project. The categories and classes are fixed, but you guys can go crazy and add as many items as you think necessary in your budget. Remember that each new item should be added here in tab 3, and only once added here, these items will be automatically included in the second tab, where you can select them from the drop-down menu and manually enter your expenses data relative to them. For example, let's say you want to add a 3rd credit card debt item in the loans and debts class. It is enough you add a line in the table in the 3rd tab and name the item Credit Card 3. Please remember to add the line in the table and not in the entire sheet, otherwise it would not work. Once this item is created, if you move to the 2nd tab and select Loans and Debts from the class drop-down menu in column E, you will see in the next cell that the relative drop-down menu will show your newly created item, ready to be selected. Let's go back to the 3rd tab and understand a bit better the 3 different expenses categories. The fixed expenses are the ones you can either very precisely estimate or, even better, you know exactly their value. You also know at what time of the month they are due. Easy examples are rents, bills, subscriptions, loans. The recurring expenses include all the usual and daily spendings, which differ from one month to another. Dining, grocery, cinema, sports, clothing, all fall within this category's classes. You need to get some solid data in order to have a good idea of the budget to allocate for these expenses. Your banking app, bill splitting app, or directly your bank statements and bills. It can take a while to figure it out the first time, and it's boring, I know, but you need to do it. The last category is for the things you're planning to do, for example within the next year, and for which some bigger capital is needed. Visiting your friends or family, saving for a nice vacation, or putting money aside to start your own projects like buying a house or a car, getting a university degree, or starting your own business. This part is vastly overlooked, guys, but it is very important to allocate money to what are your future plans and all the things you look forward to. You can see that each of the items has 2 cells you should fill. You start with filling in the projected cost, which represents the amount of money you forecast, or you want to allocate for each of the items. This will help you once again with the idea of giving a purpose to your money and not just passively tracking them. Once you actually pay for the expense, example your monthly house rent is deducted from your bank account, you need to move to tab 2 and fill in the actual cost. After you add this value in tab 2, it will automatically appear in tab 3. If you're very good at estimating, The projected cost and the actual cost amounts should be the same, or at least very similar. So here in tab 2, you can see that for each month of the year, you can insert the data relative to each single item included in the list we just discussed, and you can select from this drop-down menu what type of expense you are recording. Do not forget to include the month of the year that you are budgeting. This will be automatically linked in the third tab summary. Now that you have all the data, the next step is to get back to the main dashboard and understand where you stand and do a bit of analysis. I first suggest starting by separating the need from the want. Your rent or your apartment mortgage is of course a need. I am not going to explain to you why. But for some items the line is blurry. Sport and gym are needs or wants. For me it is a need. For all of us, moving our body is a need, truth be told. But I'm not a runner, never been, never will. And I won't be able to consistently train at home. COVID time has painfully proved this to me. So all I'm left with are sport and gym subscription. If you're more into running or cycling and you both enjoy and can stick with home exercise, then maybe for you, this is a want. Next is to have a look at the most expensive 3 items in each expenses category. Here is where you should have more grounds for cutting your expenses a little bit. Finally, we can have a look at the summary for the month. Here on the top left corner, you can change to the summary for the month you want to have a look at, and the template will update all the data. Let's have a look at the 3 main things you want to control. 1. Are expenses split? And specifically, what are the categories which are impacting the most money outflow? 2. The share of needs versus wants. And 3. Our expenses income net balance, which is what you're left with at the end of each month to achieve the goals you've set. In the template, you can see how I decided to split my remaining capital at the end of each month, but this is fully up to you and will depend on your goals. As we already discussed in our previous video, having your goals accounted for while preparing your budget is probably the single most important thing you can do. The 4th tab is where you can see a full overview of your year up to date in terms of overall expenses, income, and saving month by month. This budgeting sheet should be enough for most of us to control our personal finances, but this alone won't be enough. What you need are the right tools, the right approach, and most of all, an understanding why having a budget is the very first step you need to take towards your financial freedom. If you want to find out more, just go to our personal budgeting video.